Thanks, Kathy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. When I was asked to speak here a couple of weeks ago, I said, what do you want me to talk about? And they said about 10 minutes. Okay, I thought, I don't know how to do that. I've never done that in my life, but so that's my limit. 10 minutes. How do I say something meaningful in 10 minutes? And I decided that, yes, this is the age of the soundbite. So I worked on it last night. And I got everything I want to say down to 11 words. That I timed it and timed it. It takes about 3.2 seconds. So you ready? Ron Paul is the only candidate who can win for America. So now that I've given my speech, I've got 9 minutes and 32 seconds left. So I'd like to delve into what might be behind that soundbite. What does that really mean? You're going to hear, increasingly, you're going to hear, well, Ron Paul is a great guy, and I like what he stands for, but he can't win. Okay, so I'd like to examine that concept and see, how do we respond to that? Well, the first thing I think we need to ask is, he can't win what? Oh, and the answer is the election, of course. And then the next question would be, well, why is it important to win the election? Well, now this is where we come to the crossroads. Because many people, and perhaps the ones you'll be talking to, will say, because we want to win, and we like to win. You're talking to people now that have the football pool mentality. The people who think this is like going to the racetrack. You got to pick the winner. You don't care who it is as long as you pick the winner. It's like making a bet, you know? Well, what's the point of winning just to be a winner? Americans like to win, and that's what we're dealing with. We're not going to vote for somebody unless he can win, at least in their mind. But there is a more thoughtful approach to this, and that is that we should be picking a candidate who represents our political philosophy so that hopefully he can go to Congress or to whatever part of government we're voting for and carry our views into government. And if we can't do that, why are we voting? What good does it do to pick the winner if he represents everything of which you disapprove? So, why should we win an election and lose our freedom? No. I think one of the strongest advantages that the Ron Paul movement has today is the fact that increasingly the American people are waking up to the fact that we have a one-party system. Maybe they haven't vocalized it. Maybe they haven't put it into just so many words, but deep in their heart, deep in their stomach, they know that we've got two branches of the same political party, and they may fight over this and fight over that, but on basic policies, they're in lockstep with each other, and they're getting fed up with it. So this is the opportunity, I think, for us to realize that we're dealing not with a two-party system. We're dealing with two faces of the same system. And I want to rephrase that by saying, some people will say it's the lesser of two evils. Have you heard that? Yeah. Well, the lesser of two evils is still evil.
Yeah. Totally evil.
It's not the lesser of two evils. It's the two faces of evil.
Thank you.
I think that's our message. We got to help our fellow citizens see through this football pool mentality, this argument that we got to win, without thinking of what it is we're really winning. Many of you know the name Carroll Quigley because you've read his big, thick book called Tragedy and Hope. And in that book, Quigley, who, by the way, I should tell you a little bit about him in case there are some people here who don't know who he is, Professor Carroll Quigley was a well-known, highly respected professor of history at Georgetown University, and one of his students was William Clinton back in the 60s. And when William Clinton was nominated to the presidency, in his acceptance speech, he mentioned Carroll Quigley as his professor who had such a profound impact on his career. And many people thought, well, how nice that here Mr. Clinton is merely paying homage to some kindly old professor who had an influence on his thinking and his education. Not at all. If you understood who Quigley was, then you understood what Clinton's message was. Quigley was the historian of a secret society created by Cecil Rhodes at the turn of the century, a secret society which was dedicated to world domination. And Quigley writes about it. He said he was given privy to all of the secret documents of this organization. And he said in his book that this secret society, which evolved into what we now call the Council on Foreign Relations in America, was the most important political force in the modern time and hidden from view. And he writes about it. And Quigley says he had no objection to it. His only objection, he thought it was wonderful. He thought the only objection was that he felt that they should come out in the open now and talk openly about what they were doing rather than trying to remain behind the scenes. So that was Quigley. And anybody who understood Quigley and what role he played and what his book was about understood Clinton. Clinton, of course, as you know, is a Rhodes Scholar. And he was recruited into this whole thing. So he was telling those who knew, those who were savvy, he was saying, yes, I am part of this secret society now, and I am in its service. That was his message, but not one in a million people understood it. The reason I mention Quigley is because in his book, Tragedy and Hope, he describes what we have, the problem we have today. He said what we really should have in America, this is Quigley speaking now, he said the problem is how do we control the masses? The masses have been brought up to think that they have a right to vote and they have a right to determine their own political destiny. We have to preserve that myth, he said. We have to allow them to continue to think that they're participating in their political destiny as long as we make all the decisions, that we have to give them the vote as long as they're not given a chance to vote for anything meaningful. And he spells this all out in his book, and he said the way to do this is to have two political parties, both of which we control. He said, we'll give the American people a chance to choose up sides. And every 4 years or so, if they get fed up with one party, then they can throw the rascals out and go to the other party, which will make no difference whatsoever, he said, in terms of the master plan of building a new world order based on the model of collectivism. Amen. So what we're facing, ladies and gentlemen, and what we're hoping to break is this game of the one-party system masquerading as a two-party system. Ron Paul can do that. So my 10 minutes are up, and I want to say that there are other candidates who can win for the Republican Party, or the Democrat Party, or the international corporations, or the military-industrial complex, or the media cartel, or the pharmaceutical cartel, or the banking cartel. Amen. But Ron Paul is the only candidate who can win for America.